Well, we're here to talk about Vision Sunday and some of the components of what makes us unique as a church and where God's calling us to. One of the thoughts that I've been really reflecting on for this year's Vision Sunday is that when we come to Vision Sunday, it's actually not always about communicating new things, but reminding ourselves of where God's already called us to. And vision, as we've talked about over the last couple of years for our church, is less about like this destination point that we have to get to and more about a direction that we're running in. There's been so many times where I thought God was leading us in one direction. He used that direction to simply get us on the right track. And certainly there are big things that we're marching towards, some that will take, a few months, a lot that will take a decade or two, or maybe even 3, and we're here for the long haul. And so I'm really excited to have this conversation with each of you. For our podcast, we're gonna probably cut this out for our Vision Sunday, but I want to introduce each of you, or maybe you could just quickly introduce yourselves and how long you've been coming to the church. We'll start here, go around, and what location you've been going to. So first up.
Yeah, I can start.
Yeah.
So my name is Kim, and I've been coming to Base now.
Yeah.
Formerly Slate before is when I kind of joined, but it's been since 2018 with a question mark is what I think I remember.
Right around there.
Yeah, around there.
It's
Yeah.
coming up on 10 years.
Okay, whoa. Oh my goodness, that's a lot.
Pretty crazy, eh?
Yeah, a little bit.
Is that blue hair, Kim?
Yeah,
Is that blue hair,
it
Kim?
was blue-haired Kim. Yeah, dancing in the lobby by
White
myself
hair.
on host team. Good
Iconic.
times. But yeah, and I attend University District right now.
Amazing. Well, this church has been good to you because you found your husband.
Yeah.
I'm Paul. Also 2018, started coming out, 2018 November for me. And going to University District right now. And we met in 2019 at formerly Slate.
In the lobby. There's
In
a
the
video
lobby.
of it. It was
There's
on
a video.
socials.
There's a video.
Yeah, it was on socials.
The
Pretty
rest
cool.
is history.
Yeah,
Look at that.
God is good.
Yeah.
So good. I'm Anna, and the years. We have been part of Base, previously Slate, and then previously Embassy
Yes.
since 2014? Is
2015?
2014, yeah.
2014.
12 years ago.
Yeah, and we go to the city location, but yeah, crazy.
You joined the first team,
Yeah.
leadership team that Em and I assembled
Yep.
when we first came to the city.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And were you guys married at the time?
No, not yet. Just
that's
dating.
That's right.
It's a shout. Crazy. Well, I'm her worst half. I'm Nick, and together we've been coming to, like you said, some revision of this church for 12 years.
Yeah.
So cool. And currently we go to city center, city location. So
It's amazing.
All right, I'm Jane. We joined Koinonia back in 1992, so next month it'll be 34 years.
my goodness.
Wow.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, and we're not even the newbies there, like the real oldie goldies type of thing.
Yeah.
But 34 years.
34 years counts for something.
Yeah. And we were already married
And you were already
We were
married when you
already
went. Yeah, okay, good.
and had 4 kids, and
Isn't that
it's
wild?
crazy. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yes, and my name's Jack, and and so most of our kids found their spouses also in Koinonia at the time, and so
Yeah.
it's great. It's been very impactful place for us as a couple and as a family.
Yeah.
It's been great. So almost 34 years. Wow.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
I would love to hear from each of you what being a part of a healthy local church has meant for either you or your family, and what God's done through that.
Well, I think I touched on it in my introduction.
Yeah.
For our family, it's been priceless.
Yeah.
Just to meet all the time, and that was a place for us to grow in number, because that's where most of them found their spouses now, and at least three out of the 4. And so it's been exciting, and so now we continue to worship together with kids, grandkids, and so it's been so for us. at a local and healthy church has been very, very much for creating a healthy family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we decided to come to Koinonia way back, we realized that for us, we could probably get fed in other places or whatever, right? We were grown-ups. We could follow Jesus, and we could, do our own studies and that type of thing. But we really came because we needed a place for our kids we needed the support as well. We could do a good job at home, but to have the support from the local church, from the community and the village, right?
Yeah.
Everybody, joined in to help raise your kids as well, and you got your teaching that way. And we needed a safe place for our kids to be able to grow and to know that, they could walk into a future just having a closer walk with Jesus, and knowing that there were people there that were going to teach them and help us. Support
Absolutely.
us. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a family endeavor. Like a church for the generations represents a healthy local church, right? Like it's not just for a generation, but it's for all the generations. I think I almost cry, or at least tear up, every time I see you, your kids, and your grandkids all worshiping together. Like that's the dream.
And our great grandkids now.
And now you're great. That's right.
I know, so cool.
Isn't that wild?
Wow.
It is absolutely wild.
I mean, that's our dream, right?
Yeah, no, truly.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it speaks to the faithfulness of God.
Doesn't it?
It really does. Yeah.
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 Absolutely.
Yeah, I think being a part of a healthy local church for basically our entire adult lives, for sure, has completely changed the trajectory of our lives. I can safely say that. I think it's being a part of this church specifically it's called me. I think I can speak for you as well. It's called us to deepen our relationship with Christ, get poured into, and then actually from that go out and preach the gospel to those around us in our communities, at our workplaces. I know you work at the church now, so can't really do that. But I work in construction, and being a part of this church has really challenged me to go out and do that and preach the gospel to people around me, no matter what it might bring. Right?
Yeah.
So that's been a constant thing. That's the first thing I think of when I think of a healthy local church, is one that calls us to do that, to preach the gospel to people around us who need to hear that message.
Yeah.
That's good.
Absolutely. If we could look at the last 2 years of Base Church, each of our locations has a longer history. So Koinonia, or Bloomingdale, has a 40-year history. And then we look at City, or Slate, it has a 8-year history. And then we look at Uni, or Embassy, it has a 12-year history, even longer before that.
Yeah.
The result of this merge and these 3 locations coming together and having a 2-year history, like I've been personally blessed with all that God's done in a couple of short years. I remember leading up to the launch of Base and this merge, and we were on these like town hall Zoom calls, and people were peppering questions, and I kept trying to temper the expectations, and I kept saying, I think this is going to take 3 to 5 years to even feel like it might be working. And I look back at the faithfulness of God, and I go, man, he really escalated that a lot faster than I thought he would, But tell me, a little bit about some of your favorite memories just over the last 2 years, like some of the things that God's done.
I think about worship team.
Yeah.
Like this kind of answers sort of your last question a little bit, but also with this idea of like a healthy local church and what that means to me. But also this like answering this question that you just posed to us. For me, it's like interesting looking at worship team. I remember way back when I couldn't even picture. We were talking about this before. I couldn't picture a multi-generational team.
Right.
Yeah, or even just even at Uni District, the idea that we could have the whole team be people from Uni District, I promise you, it's such a concept. Like,
Right.
I remember somebody posted there, like, that'd be so cool to have, like, it was probably Sam Green or something, but he was like, that'd be so cool to have, like, the whole team be uni district. I was like, yeah, it'd be so cool. But I was like, Nick's gonna be sticking around for a while. Like, you're gonna have to be sacrificing time with kids to be here. But yeah, now we're at this a spot where it's just so beautiful to see a bunch of people jumping on. You have people from uni, like, teaching one another, discipling one another, like, even through that team itself.
Yeah.
I can't even, that's like only one team that I'm talking to. It's like there's lots of other ones, and then that doesn't even touch in on like home bases
Absolutely.
and the work that God's doing through those. So,
Yeah.
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 I was gonna talk about home bases and just like how healthy so many of them are, and like it's changed my life for sure. Like before that, I didn't really have a group of guy friends just in my life really.
Yeah.
Much less like Christian guy friends.
Right.
And so that was something I was looking for, and we know that I met you here, but all my groomsmen were also just guys from church and home base, and just like we're in different home bases now, but just like that relationship has stuck around, and like there are people that like I can go to when I'm going through things and like talk about it, and I know like so many other people because of being a part of home base has that. So it's just
So beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I think that's the story of so many people in our church, right? You get into a healthy community, and I know I've heard the stories of people that have been at the church for decades, and you're vacationing together, and not only did your kids meet some of their spouses at the church, but there's all these stories of people meeting their spouses and then at the church, and they're represented from two different families. Now both families are supporting them, and like it's a wild concept, but these friendships that go deep over the course of a few years, but even a few decades, just gives like a beauty to life that I think a lot of people outside the church hunger for. Other stories from the last couple of years?
I got to say, we do a lot of times, we're greeters at the door.
Yeah.
My favorite is worship nights. It's 7, quarter to 7. Some of these kids should be in bed.
Yeah.
They're excited, and these young families coming in with their kids, ready to worship. And it's just, wow, that does my heart so good. I just love those nights and seeing all these young families coming to worship.
And that's what we were 34 years ago.
Yeah.
Like,
You were the young family.
anytime
Yeah.
the doors were open, we were there with the whole group. And for us, we had a 45-minute drive.
Yeah.
And we still went with the kids and everything, and anything that was going on. The doors were open, kids were helping, we were doing whatever, and it was great. It was fun.
Yeah.
That was family. That was community.
So that phrase, I love that. Anytime the doors were open, we were there. I think of David. He says, better is one day in your house than 1,000 elsewhere. Would rather be a doorkeeper in the house of God than in a palace.
Yeah, come on.
And I think that like conceptually you go, what a beautiful statement. But maybe I'd ask you the question, Jane, like, why were you there every time the doors were open?
It wasn't work, and yet it was work involved. We became leaders as far as like we taught in the Wednesday night grade 1 through 4 class or whatever.
Kingdom
Kids back then, and then it became FBI, and so we were leaders then. But at the beginning, it was because we were hungry, and you know we were hungry. We weren't being fed where we were, and our kids weren't either. And so it was an exciting place to be, and there was light there and life there, and so the doors open and let's go. And it wasn't work.
Yes.
Yeah.
How have you guys in particular been able to keep the hunger over these 34 years? And you had a hunger individually before that, but specifically these last 34 years, like, I think what I'm taken aback by, and I think for all the young families in our church, is you were bringing 4 young kids that should have been in bed anytime the doors are open. But I still see that in you guys. Every time the doors are open, Jack and Jane are in the building. You know, if you're not traveling, you're there. I was going to say, life has afforded you a bit more traveling.
And we do let the younger ones take over some of that stuff now too,
totally.
because that needs to be done. But
you still have this hunger.
it's still home.
Yeah.
It's still home.
And it's life. There's life there.
Yeah.
And I got to say that before the merge, there was a period of time in my own life that I felt more like it was kind of plateauing.
Right.
And yeah,
Little
we were going
coasting.
through the motions and the things.
Yep.
But this whole merge for us and for me personally has been fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
When he talks about the greeting at the door too, with these young people that are coming in, and then we have that segment in church where,
Yeah.
the kids are out now. Go meet somebody that you've never met before.
Yeah.
That doesn't take much anymore because there's such an infusion of new faces.
Yeah.
It's like this is so cool.
Yeah.
And just the enthusiasm, the excitement in people to be there. And
Absolutely.
just love it.
Could you guys speak to that too? Like, I think that's the surprising thing is like the church I grew up in, if we had that same exercise, turn to somebody you've never met, everybody would have to flock to one person,
Right.
or there wouldn't be anybody to turn to. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
And now at every one of our locations, like, how do you guys feel about that? I mean, you guys have been there since the early days of both of the locations you go to, and it looks wildly different now. Like, how's that reality been for you and your families?
I just keep thinking of that term, life-giving.
Yeah.
Like this church it's life-giving, really. And I think people see that, like they come into this space, maybe someone has invited them. And I think it is like this cycle, like someone has invited them because it's life-giving. And then they come and see it and they're like, wow, this really is so life-giving. And then if you have a family, like you want to bring them into that and like let them be a part of that. Like, why would we not bring
Yeah.
our kids anytime the doors are open? Why would we not like have them here where they can like meet with the creator of the universe and
Yes.
like, yeah.
Yeah, I think I would agree. And I want our kids to ultimately see how big a part of our lives God is. He's the biggest part. He's what we built our life on. And I just hope that they even catch like a little bit of that, right? Like if they can see how passionate we really are for
Yeah.
the church, then just maybe they will, that'll pass on to the next generation and so on and so forth, like you guys have seen with your family, right? And just the initial, work that you put in when it was not always easy, like driving 45 minutes, right? Like we're just
That's
we're
insane.
like 15 minutes from here, and sometimes it's hard, right? But like good for you guys for really just allowing God to work through you guys, and then seeing the fruit of that in your kids and their kids, and it just keeps going down.
And their kids, you can finally say it, and their kids, it just keeps going. It's beautiful. I think you guys have faithfully put into action that your words and your actions align. And kids notice this stuff. Like they know when something's out of alignment. We love Jesus, but we're not there. It's a hard thing for them to reconcile. What about you guys? A lot of new faces every year, every week.
Seriously.
Like if you're gone for a couple weeks on vacation, you come back and you're like, who are all these new people?
We went to Taiwan. We came back and we came together. We were like,
We missed 2 Sundays.
yeah. And we're like, who is everybody? Like, meet someone new. I don't have time. Like, they're always making the joke of like, meet 17,000. Emma Knishin's always saying it, but meet 17,000 new people. I'm like, I can. At
Yeah,
this point.
right.
Yeah, it's getting ridiculous in a good way. But I
Yeah, it's
think,
really cool just seeing how many new faces.
Yeah.
Yeah, just every week there is, and new friendship forming, and and I think to your point, just people are inviting because it's. I think to that first question, like a healthy local church means you can or like it's easy to invite. It's like easy for people to like just come into your welcoming space and
Yeah. So let me bring you into this year's vision. We talked about it a little bit before we started. So we're looking at the story of Nehemiah. And of course, right now, they've been taken over by another nation, a foreign nation. The promises of God seem distant in the future, or at best, and non-existent at worst. And it's not that God's promises have gone anywhere, but the people's disobedience have led them to a place they don't want to be, and they've lost hope. Nehemiah comes into this situation, he looks around, and he's lamenting at where things have gotten to. And he decides, like God puts it on his heart, like it's time to build. It's time to rebuild these walls and get on with it. Like God is still present even in the midst of the rubble. And this idea of talking about like how many new people are coming to the church, like that's always been God's heart, to reach the lost, to run after the one sheep that ran away, to welcome home the prodigal son, the prodigal daughter. And yet I think we find ourselves in an interesting time in Canadian history paired with what is happening in the church. You guys have heard these statistics, but there are more churches closing than there are churches that are opening. There are more pastors leaving ministry than are going into ministry. Briarcrest University did this study in 2018, so we're almost 10 years ago, and they said we need at least 600 lead pastor graduates every year out of our colleges and universities to just maintain the churches we have. That doesn't mean any growth. And they estimated, based on their studies, we were only graduating as a nation 150 lead pastors every year. So that was 8 years ago. In 2 years, that'll be a shortfall of 450 every year. That's 4,500 pastors lacking. We know this because the city that's right next to us, 75% of the evangelical churches that are there are without a pastor. And yet there's this stranglehold that boards have on the churches that aren't willing to collaborate. And so this is where churches like ours are forced to actually plant, bring new life, and that sort of thing. And so I look at kind of the rubble, if you will. We use that metaphor, the rubble of kind of where the church is at. There's glimmers of beauty. We're not the only church doing beautiful things in even this region, but even across Canada. But we are one expression of what God's up to. People are coming to church. Things are growing. We've decided we want to build. But I want to talk about the cost. Because Nehemiah has this great vision. I think as a church, we've got a great vision. But then immediately opposition comes. And opposition isn't always in the form of somebody shouting negatively at you, although in Nehemiah's case it was. Sometimes opposition is just, we feel like we've plateaued. Sometimes opposition is like, how much longer can I give this much? Sometimes opposition is, I know it's only a 15-minute drive, but we got to do it. The enemy uses whatever he can get his hands on to dissuade the people of God from doing the hard work and building the vision in front of them. And so I wonder if all of us could almost speak to some of those hard moments, and whether it be with like your energy, the gifts God has given you, the time you've given, or even the finances. We're talking a lot about finances in Heart for This, so I'd love for you to key in on that a little bit. But those moments where you knew you needed to overcome the opposition to build what God has called you to build. Maybe like personalize that a little bit.
Yeah, I think early on, the first memory that I think of is just like the sacrifice of time, I think. I'm thinking back to when Will was born, right? And this is when we were kind of in our infancy as a church. I think it was Slate Church at that point. And we were doing the thing every Sunday, setting up.
Yeah,
that was when we were setting up.
Yeah, there still is one location still doing it. Not for long. We're believing for property.
Amen.
Yeah. So that was back when we just did the one location, really, right? And just the time spent away from home. I think of.
Yeah.
But I don't regret it because of, I think, the foundation that it laid initially, right? It set the tone that, you know what, Dad's committed.
Yeah.
Mom and Dad are committed to this thing that they have clearly given their life to, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, like putting actions to the words. So that's what I think first and foremost is just the sacrifice of time initially.
And that's a big one. I think it can also flip a little bit. Like you have this desire to serve and you want to serve, and then you start saying yes to everything instead of zoning in on one thing maybe that God has for you in the season, whatever. Yeah. And you say yes to everything, and then it's almost like the enemy uses that a little bit to be like, oh, you can't do all of this. This is too much. When your internal dialogue, I guess, maybe gets to you, and then you're like, oh, I can't do this anymore, and then you just stop doing everything, right? There's seasons probably where we overexerted and we're so invested in this, we want to be a part of this, and then you do too much, and then you have to kind of step back, take a look. But then in those seasons, you kind of remind yourself, oh, this is why I'm doing this. I need to,
this was always the point.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
I get that sometimes where I'll like have all these good intentions. I want to meet up with all these people, so I set all these meetings. And then I wake up and I look at my calendar and I go, why am I so busy? And I have to remind myself, wait, this is the whole point. They're on my calendar because I wanted to do this. It's like,
Yeah, it's true. And then I think we're in a very like healthy spot with that personally, where we just like we're very busy with church things. Like church is literally our life. We're in every, it's in every part of our life right now, and we're just so happy with that. Like how could we not just integrate it in every piece of our life?
Yeah.
And then because you also see the fruit of that too, like in your kids, you see the fruit of it, and just in, every Sunday, new people coming into church, like we're a part of that. Even if it's like a small portion of that, we're a part of that, and that's really, like, how can you not want to be a part of that?
Yeah, I think of God's grace, right, to us. Like it's freely given to us, but it needs to cost us something, just because the price that He paid.
That's right.
Right, and that's kind of what drives me, anyways. I think I just keep coming back to that, God's grace. Like it's undeserved, and we could never do anything to take that away. It's there, but it should really cost us something, and that's kind of how we've approached our lives.
Yeah.
It's really good. I think you made me think of like for me, it's been like going back to my why has been what's helpful, but I think it hasn't always been easy. Like pretty like zealous person, and I remember especially like early days where I was like, really getting involved in church. I was on like every team that I could get on, it felt like. Just sign me up for anything essentially, except for worship. I was very scared for that. Still am sometimes. But I think like it was my why that brought me back. But I think it was also like the gift of leaders. Like I think that idea that we are making disciples, like we often talk about this idea, like that's kind of most of what we talk about in terms of like discipling other people. Like we're here to make disciples and here to see other people do that too. And I think for me that why is like grounding. But I think also another struggle has been like that struggle of being misunderstood. Like I think came up in one season. I think back to when COVID hit and I had to go back home and I cried. I was so dramatic, but I filmed a video of myself crying because I was like, I don't want to go.
This is something young women do. I'm not quite understand it, but I'm glad you do.
Honestly, it's really funny to look back at now, but I was crying. I was like, I didn't want to go back home. Like, I just want to serve at church. And it's like, oh, wow, like you're very invested there. But I remember going back home and my family didn't understand, which I get it now looking back. I was doing a lot, but I was always like on church meetings, always like, working on something for teams or for like home or like small group, like that type of thing. They didn't get it. But I think like now I look back, I see my brothers like here at church. My little brother takes every opportunity to come to Waterloo for church. Like he wants to come to university here in Waterloo for church. He's in grade 9. Like, let's be for real. But it was like since early days for him, ever since that he could like be here. During one of the worship, it was the all-nighter that we had. He hid from my mom during that night so he could stay in the building, and she had to sleep in the car, take a nap in the car because he didn't want to leave. She couldn't find him. So I think like seeing the effect that it's had on my family, like they didn't get me in that one season, but it's like now like my brother's here, my brother's trying to come here, my 2 cousins are here, like it's become this like family thing for us, and then it's only ripple effects. We keep praying for those family members to come back to Christ and meet him in a cool new way, but
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's so cool. There's always people watching, if it's your brothers or whoever's. And I think it's been said before that if you really want to know where somebody's priority is, look on their calendar. What's on their calendar and what keeps them busy. And look at, we don't use checkbooks, but look at their bank account. Oh, that was a tithe, and oh, that was an extra giving for this, and that was to help that out. Look at their bank account, look at their calendar. Where are their priorities? And if you live that out, people are watching. If it's your own kids, if it's your neighbors, if it's, other people are watching and seeing where your priorities are. And you don't really have to preach to your kids. You just live it out, right? And just like you were saying, your family's all watching you.
But it's not always easy though. That season was definitely, there was hard moments where I'd be wrestling and it's like, well, how do I still keep doing this? But it's the vision, that why, being fed through leaders that have helped me so much. Like the countless conversations I had with Pastor Nate being like, what's your why essentially? Like, why are you still doing this? Like, it kept me in like doing the thing.
Yeah, let's talk about that why. And let's be specific a little bit to Heart for the House. I would love, almost like one by one for this question, for you to share what stands out about the vision we believe that God's given us as a church. Like, what is the thing that stands out maybe the most to you? And then answer that question, like, why? And answer it in like 1 or 2 sentences. But what is the main part about some of the vision that's been communicated? Now, again, this is where we intend to go. We're believing God's taking us in this direction, even if in his grand scheme, none of us planned for COVID, right? COVID happened. We all had our plans and we realized, oh, that verse about man plans is in his heart, but God charts our course. When we talk about vision, we go, we think this is what God's saying, and we're open to him shifting us as time goes on, because we can't tell. We're not fortune tellers, right? Like we're trying to follow the voice of God. So what is the aspect of our church's vision that just kind of like lights you up a little bit, and why? And maybe we'll start on this side and go around.
I love the whole aspect of outreach, reaching people. Love the whole philosophy and the feeling behind University District, that we are reaching kids that go back all over the world.
Absolutely.
It's just it's phenomenal, and so we see them with the life of God, and they're going to all different countries all over, and so. So I love the vision of having our own church grow, but when we're talking about University District and now moving on to another city, and there could be many cities that need it. It's just, how are we impacting the world with impacting these kids?
Absolutely.
At Uni District. So I love that.
It's like Tim Keller said, right? If you want to fulfill the Great Commission, go into all the world and reach the nations, then reach a city. But that could be said about university as well. You want to reach the world, just reach the universities. They go back, and what God has done here goes with them. Yeah, and we have so many stories of that all over the world. Sure. What about you, Jane?
When you talk about into all the world and everything, and I love looking around our church and seeing the United Nations.
Yeah.
I do. Like that just blows my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, in churches that we've grown up with, it was like completely white.
And blonde hair and tall, right?
Oh,
It's Dutch.
And it's true. And you go, and I know sometimes it's like with the country churches, that's what you are going to get, because there's not. Sure. But I just love sitting there looking around and going, this is so cool. We have the United Nations here in our church. There are people from everywhere. And to learn about their cultures and that type of thing too, right? And it's so, I find that so rich.
And you said
really
heaven's going to look like that.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I was going to say,
it's
a glimpse of heaven on earth.
Yeah.
No, we say we're all going to be united at heaven.
Yeah, that's right. But, There's not going to be any more borders in heaven, right?
But I think for me, that's just absolutely
it's so beautiful, Jane.
Yeah.
What about you, Nick?
Yeah, when I think of our church's mission, I think of the idea of building a healthy local church and renewing the church in Canada, right?
Yeah.
And that leads me to the thought of finances. And releasing that to God, whether the sacrificial giving, right? And what that looks like for everyone. God wants everything we have, not just 3/4 of our life. He wants it all, and he's owed that, and that means releasing our finances to Him, right? And just trusting that He's going to fulfill His will in Canada, right? And I think that's why we put such a big emphasis on building the church here, right?
That's right.
And just releasing everything we have, including our finances.
Well, and all of it comes back to scattering, right? Like you mentioned, scattering around the world, but also we really have this conviction that we're supposed to grow a healthy church, not just that we can sit around on the couch. No, I think about your daughter who runs every morning. She's healthy with a purpose. Nobody gets super healthy to be like, now I can go on a Netflix marathon. No, they get healthy so they can go run a real marathon. As a church, we get healthy, not just that we can say, look at how healthy we are, but we get healthy so that we can run and scatter around the province we call home. I love that.
Yeah, you gotta take in what you're hearing and reading in Scripture and apply it. If you don't apply it, what is it for?
Yeah.
Right.
I love that.
That's good.
Yeah. It's funny because I was thinking about the concept of reaching Ontario specifically. So we must be aligned there.
Must be.
Yeah, and then again, like financially, like how can you reach Ontario if there's not people like contributing, like you know,
resources,
with
right?
their resources, exactly.
Yeah.
Because I think growing up, like the church I grew up at was like missions was so important, but often the missions was focused, you know, let's reach the world, like anywhere but Canada.
Yeah.
And I think it's so easy to forget about your own backyard, like which you and Pastor Emma have talked about so much. Like reaching your own backyard is really important. Like if we can't be strong and, you know, bring people to Jesus in our own backyard, then like how are we ever going to reach the people outside of Canada, outside of Ontario? Yeah, so that I think, and just, you know, bringing our family along for that too, and reminding our kids so that it's not just like, oh, it stops here at like Nick and Anna.
That's
like
right.
it continues on with like Will and Charlie and Sienna and then their kids and like their kids and
Yeah, it's so interesting because I go to a lot of pastors' gatherings, and the amount of missionaries that are being sent to Canada. So I'll talk to a pastor, and they go, "I'm a missionary sent here," and I go, "We were so good at sending dollars out, and so scattered that it didn't even really have a purpose. Like, are we even trekking with the missionaries we're supporting, or?" I believe we're going to give millions, honestly, by the end of our story as a church, to missions. Absolutely, I love it. But I want to see a church that's healthy in Canada so that we can keep doing that. And it wasn't a seasonal thing, but it's a generational thing. Yeah, I love that. Paul?
Yeah. A healthy local church means like a home for me. And it was family when I didn't really have family around.
Yeah.
Now I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, my parents are in Taiwan. Sisters in North York. It's not too far, but yeah, like a healthy local church was really like church as family. Like that was a real thing for me. Like going through like the highs and the lows of lows. Like it was like people at church like coming alongside me. So like I think for me it's just a healthy local church in every major municipality in Ontario. Like other people that may be in the same shoe as me, like being able to experience that same thing. Yeah, like that is priceless, I think. And I think, yeah, like to their point, like it also takes sacrifice, like financially, time, like the university stuff. Yeah, that's like, maybe because I'm just like recently graduated, but that's like also just like on top of my mind of like ever since like I found Slate, it was like, yeah, like we have to reach the students, and that's like such a big part of it all. And building university district takes sacrifice now, like working in Mississauga, like I gotta get up early on Monday morning, but so like city location or Bloomingdale is very tempting for us, I think, like having to go to sleep like pretty early, but just like the passion for like students and university district.
Yes.
It takes a sacrifice, but it's something, yeah, we're like really passionate about, I think. It's really what brought us together, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that stuff, and then yeah, just like building a healthy university district, and like even like you're saying your brother wanting to come here for school. I remember a few years ago, I was like, just had kind of a picture of like Waterloo like as a lighthouse, and then like people coming here. Yeah, kind of not because of engineering at Waterloo or whatever it is, but coming because of like, oh, there's a healthy local church. And the story, like the number of people I feel like I've talked to that like they've came to Waterloo because like part of the reason is, oh, like they know there's like a really healthy church, and like so I'll go to school there.
Yeah.
Or staying too.
Yeah, or staying, yeah, especially that. Yeah, so like all of that seeing the health of that, and yeah, how can you not want that for like every other city,
Absolutely.
every other city out there? So
Yeah.
yeah, for me, it's that.
I love that.
So I think like what our spark is, right? Like what our why.
Yeah.
I guess for me, it kind of goes back to my experience when I first got to church. Like growing up, I did grow up in a church that was similar to what you were talking about. Maybe they weren't all Dutch, but like they were all white. So I think coming here, I remember telling a friend in residence, like, "Oh my gosh, it's so diverse in Waterloo," and they were like, she was coming from Mississauga, and she's like, "That's really cute." It's not. So I think like it was a bit of a culture shock for me coming here, but I like felt so much life like coming into the city. But then beyond that, coming to the church, like that's when my light came on. And I think even going back home, I remember it always gets me so emotional. But going back home, and we were in a prayer circle with my dad, and we were all praying, and he was like, "Something's changed about you. Like, like you're not the same person that you were before. Like you're praying different. Like there's something different about you." And I was like, wow, like. And honestly, I can attribute all my change, all my development and growth to what God's done through other people in the church. Like, I would not be here today without what God's done through Base. So,
So cool.
It's gonna make us all cry.
I know.
That's beautiful.
so it's like, if that's impacted me this much, why wouldn't I want someone else to experience that? Like, that sounds selfish to not want them to.
Yeah.
I'm getting so emotional to get tissue. But yeah, I would love for other people to experience that and to have that fresh new life. So I think even looking at my coworker who doesn't know Christ, I get so scared to talk about it at work.
Yeah.
But one thing that she said to me was like, "I love how you don't live your life for yourself. Like I see that you don't live your life for yourself, because it's like, oh, what are you doing this weekend? Church. What else are you doing this weekend? Oh, going to like spend time with a friend. Like she's been going through a tough time, or blah blah blah. Or like, oh, you know, my small group's gonna come around this person, or like, oh, we're planning this party for this person because they've been down, or like whatever the case might be."
Yeah.
And it's that's always stuck with me. And I'm like, you think I do that? Like wait until you meet the other people that I get to interact with like on Sundays. Like they probably do it way more than like I do. Like I've seen those testimonies like come to life. So I think just being a part of a family like this, I want to bring people in. Like, this is my family, but this is also my family.
My gosh, we should just put you up there and share that. That's beautiful.
That's it.
I think they're getting you a Kleenex, by the way.
Okay, thank God.
I just have a couple more questions, and I actually want to kind of launch off of that idea of like how much it's going to take to do this thing. Of one of the things I want to say off the start of this next question, though, is I love that most of the answers simply came back to building a healthy local church. Let me back it up a little bit more. So, you know, if anybody in our church prays for their pastors, leading into Heart for the House season is probably the best time to pray and Hunger Nights. Those are just two deeply spiritual times in our year where I know a lot of our staff, but even myself, like I get attacked the most by the accuser, the slanderer, the deceiver. Came away from last Vision Sunday, and all I can say is that everything we communicated was God-breathed. It wasn't like invented in my room, you know, with God. It was stuff we were hearing amongst our team, amongst our church. Some of it I heard from God and brought to the table, but it was, you know, the elders, so to speak, weighed that and went, no, we're feeling that in our hearts too. But after we communicated that, I was so freaked out. I was like, we just communicated something I don't know if we can do. And it's been weighing on me. It was a week later, I was with a group of pastors in Colorado, and they started sharing these visions that were directly related to what we had talked about. For instance, I'll say it really quickly because there's a question that's coming. But last year I shared about Pastor Steve going into the field and putting that shovel in the ground. And last year we talked so much about more property and it's going to be needed to do all that God's calling our church to do over decades. And then we talked about the high rise and how we want to buy property in the mind map of students. And if God would allow us, the next step would be to build a high rise. And I remember just feeling so foolish, like, man, what did I say? Like, this is going to take years. And can people come along the journey for that long of a time to see that realized? Can we keep sacrificing year after year to see that happen? Is this possible? And then I'm with these pastors, and one goes, I see you and you're standing beside a field and you shove a shovel into the ground and God's saying it's going to happen sooner than you think. And I go, did you just watch our...
Yeah.
And he goes, I don't even know really who you are. Sorry, man. He pastors a massive church in the States. He's like, I'm just speaking prophetically. Another guy comes up. He's the chaplain for the Milwaukee Bucks. And he comes up and he prophesies. He said, I see you standing on a plot of land. It's like a square, but then it shoots up into the air like a rectangle. And I see elevators coming up and down, and God's saying it's going to happen sooner than you think. And I go, did you watch our vision? I'm feeling so foolish. And then God's right there going, Brandon, that's the point. You can't do it on your own.
Yeah.
I want to lay before you the conundrum I've been thinking about all year. And then I just want to get your perspectives, mainly your faith, of what God does when you hear it. So if we add up some of the things that we've been doing the math. It's like we want to plant a church in every major municipality in Ontario. That came up a lot in what you guys are saying too. Let's say it's 51. We just take the major cities, 51 churches. And we gave $500,000 over the course of 3 years to really get it going. Maybe we gave them 200, and then we gave them 300 to buy a building someday. I don't know, but let's round it at 500. That would be $25.5 million to do that. At first I think, and I go, that's a lot of money. Then I think, actually, I think we can do it. But let's keep adding it up. We have been doing a lot of work on what it looks like to buy a property in the mind map of students. And more recently, we've gotten connected with somebody who does this for a living, a strong Christian that wants to be on our side to see this through. And he was mentioning that the property would be anywhere between 5 to 20 million. And then to build a high rise is about 80. And I hear this number and I go, okay, now we're at, let's add it up, 125.5 million. And then I think about our other anchor or pillar, education, and think about sending thousands out. And I go, I know that's going to cost us a lot too. Let's say over the next 20 decades, it's another 25. I see this number, I see 150. And I go, two different things come to mind. One, those are really good, great goals, but it only matters if we build a healthy local church, which is worth multiplying.
Right.
So beyond all of that, the one thing I want to say to our church over and over again is don't get too stuck on that when the real goal week in and week out, day in and day out, is to have healthy families, healthy Christians, a healthy church that would even allow us to do that.
Yeah, come on.
But the second thought that I have is, man, that's a lot. That's a big goal. And we can only do that if God's in it. And I've been wrestling all year with this, and I think I've come to the place where I go, it's so big, only God could do it. And that's actually what gets me out of bed in the morning. But when you guys hear this stuff, I'm fleshing out parts of it. We also talked about like praying over the city last year, which we did. We took a whole week and prayed over almost all the streets. We talked about getting our systems and we've done there's so many components. But I wanted to lay kind of some of the big things before you and go, how do you receive that in faith as you're sitting here? Jack, you're just smiling the whole time.
So, we were warned ahead of time that we were going to be here and we were going to talk about Heart for the House. And so we go back, we talk about our stories that, in our life. And so one of the things that really came out was through one of the most challenging times in our life, we didn't own a house, we rented a house. And we had started a business in Holland, and we were going to get a big check in, and we determined that the first fruits from that business was going to go to the local church, and it was more than twice what we had paid for our first house when we first got married. And we didn't own a house, and we were going through a very challenging time, but we just believed that God was in this. And it wasn't, okay, if we give X, God's going to give us back Y. It was, God, you have been so faithful that this is yours. This is the first fruits of what you're giving us. And we were believing, of course, for more, but it was just, God, this is yours.
Yes.
And, so that's what, when you're saying that, when you're talking, I'm just smiling. I'm just saying, wow. And it points back to what you were talking about earlier with Nehemiah. They were building, but they were building that wall before they were building their own homes. And it was, wow, can we really do that? And I'm not saying that everybody has to do that, not buy a house or something, but it was just, it's the principle that was just so exciting for us. Yeah.
We bought this little house when we got married, and then we traded it with a family member for a farm that we thought we were supposed to go to, and still, I mean, had great years there, but lost everything. And so, and then we end up in a place of, you know, we're surviving, and, you know, Jack gets this job with this company and gets offered ownership and whatnot. And then like he said, we actually looked, the only reason we know the time that it was, because I couldn't remember that, Jack went back in our finances to look for the check stub and found the check stub. Yeah. And it was in 1998, and it was a very low time for our family. A really, really, really crushingly hard time for our family. It was,
It wasn't when it was easy.
No. And then to realize that happened during that time, and you go, wow, God, because it took a long time still to come out of that, believing God was with us the whole time, but to be able to make that kind of a stand and go, we could use that for everything else. And it wasn't finances that was the dark time. It was family stuff that was the dark time. And so we could have used that for all kinds of things, and instead we really believed with his partner that this was something that we needed to do. We really wanted to do. It was a seed. Wow. And I mean, we look back on that now and go, it was a time before we came out of that season. Yeah. But that seed was there, and I mean, I can't even tell you the night that the video where you said that the mortgage on the building in Bloomingdale, for a lot of us who go back that far, it was like, oh my goodness, like, let's go out and party. This is so, like, it was just like, it just hit you, like, that is so cool to see. Sorry, I hit my mic. It was so cool to have an end to that. You know, it's like you're building on the outside. So when you have your own home and you get to a point where you can be debt free, and you go, oh my word, that is so cool. But to hear that for the Bloomingdale property, to have that paid off, we know how much it was and everything else. And then you go, and then I look at you saying 150 million. I go, so.
God can.
God can.
God can, absolutely.
How much time do we have? Do we have time for another story?
Absolutely.
So I love Jane's heart. Her heart is always forgiving. So Jane was just saying that about the time when we were on the farm and we were losing it all. Yeah. Right? And so we were going broke. And yet there was another couple in the church that was also going broke with their greenhouse business. And Jane just said, I believe we need to give them some money for groceries. And we did that because Jane's heart was forgiving. So as we're thinking about what's tonight, listen to a song this week, and the words were that person was so broke that all he had left was money. And I thought, wow, what a statement. Because we were on the other side. We didn't have money, but we didn't feel broke because we had so much other. And I thought, wow, if at the end of your life, all you have left is money, you're broke. Yeah. Anyway,
and then we said when we recalled that story, we said, so interesting, we did that, and a few months later, we went broke.
Isn't that funny?
Financially,
Financially, we lost everything. We had nothing. They left us our kids. That was nice of them.
By the time they were done with you, they didn't want.
But at the same time, somebody found us a place, and we could live for 12 years, $150 rent.
A month.
A month. And it's like, who finds a place like that is big enough for all your kids? It was a massive country house. And it's like,
But man, you learn faithfulness in that season.
You do, and it's so cool to think about some of those things, and you just go, when we were called and talked about some of this stuff, and we said, I like to say, we didn't give to get, we gave to give. And that was important for us. It was
Amen.
not, we didn't put money in the offering plate or whatever because we thought, oh, if we do this, now God's going to give us something. We recognize that there are principles that are involved in that.
For sure.
But our heart was, we don't give to get, but we give to give.
Yeah.
And we were actually reminded today because a year ago, one of our kids, one of the couples, called us and said, how do you know what to give for her to house? How do you even think about this? And so we kind of came up with some ideas and stuff, and they must have mentioned a couple of things or whatever. And so they said today, I remember what you said. What did we say?
Yeah, what did we
Don't
say?
remember what we said. And you said, it's not money for the house. It's not 15% for the house. It's heart for the house. So what is your heart telling you that you need to give?
Wow.
And they said that was where we went from. And I thought, well, that was really cool.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
My gosh, just this is why we want to tell these stories, right? All right, let's go for you guys, and then you guys. Where?
You want us to
That was
take
amazing.
No, stay.
Edit a lot of that
That was
out.
great. I think we're done. Yeah.
We don't want to take
Yeah, I think that we could probably just take that, but no, we are going to put this whole thing online, so that's why. Tell us about, like, when you hear that. I mean, certainly that gives you some material to work with, but what comes to mind when you hear this and you go, okay, that's a big goal. I saw your face even as we were saying. You're like, whoa, what are you thinking about?
Yeah, I think it is a big goal.
Yeah.
Right? But also it doesn't really faze me either. I was watching a movie today. It's called Unsung Hero. I won't tell you the whole plot because it spoils it. But it's really good. Go back and watch it. But like at the end of it, I was like thinking about that, and then also reflecting on this podcast that I listened to. And there's this idea that everything that you own is on loan. That's what the podcast was saying. And I was thinking about it afterwards, and I was like, interesting. Like, sometimes loans, they have interest. And I was like, God, thank God that like this loan doesn't have interest. And I was like, wait, like there is kind of interest on it in the sense of like, I was like play on words, but it's like you got to be interested in the mission, like that like Christ is calling you to be in on, right? Because it's not just like I'm here to go through the motions, right? Like we do in certain seasons, but you're here to like pitch in and contribute to something. Yeah. So I think while it's like, oh, that's intimidating, I'm like, no, but if everybody's in on it, like we're not doing it by ourselves, and everything that we own is on loan. So together, it's like God can do His thing. So while it's scary, it's also like, I feel pretty good about it. But I think about like your season, even of like not having work for a bit too, and like that was a very trying time for you. But I think like of what's come out of it now, and like waiting so long for the right job, and now like I'm seeing you thrive in this one.
It's a really cool story. I'm like over the moon. Like when people ask me how my job's going, it's just like I can't ask for anything better.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think I guess I just wanted to, before I forget what I was going to answer. Yeah, maybe it's naive, but just it doesn't really faze me that much either. Like, although it's like, okay, what's my one coin or $10 or even like a whole paycheck? Like, what's that gonna do to 150 million? But also just like, we've personally seen God do just the impossible before with this building here, and just accelerating timelines and all that. So it's like at this point, it's like God can do anything. Like we've seen it with our eyes, and but also just like stories of like Jesus multiplying the fish and the loaves. Like they were gonna send people away to get their own food, but like it was just some fish and some bread, and
it was what was released into His hands. He was able to multiply.
Exactly. So I don't know, just like maybe all I have is like this paycheck to give right now, but like God can do anything with that. So like it's a big number, but and then I think what Kim was talking about, just so I've been working at this job for 1.5 years, but so it would have been the Heart for the House 2 years ago. That was a hard season because like I've been going through co-ops and like it's just kind of easy. Like I have co-op money, but I don't have like any responsibility other than like some school fees. So like it was all like, didn't like really think much about it back then with Heart for the House. But that season, I feel like I was really challenging of like, oh man, like do I really trust God with my finances? Because like, I don't have a job lined up, and like I only have this much left. I'm clearly still like able to like get food and all that stuff, and so it was like just a season of like challenging myself. I feel like, and then just with the job, like, I guess there could have been other jobs, but I'm so glad like God gave me this one.
Yeah.
And I mean, even just the concept of like, everything we have, like, it's given to us by God. Growing up, it was like, oh, okay, if I get a good degree, get a good job, and I'll like have a good life.
Yeah.
But it's just like, man, like that's just so silly to think about now. Like the job I have is because of God, and like that can get taken away. Like anything I have it's not really mine, and like I can't hold on to it that tight. Like it's just, there's no point, and like I just have to trust in God and like rely on Him. The God He's given, the job that God's given me now, like I can't imagine a place that I can bring like more Christian value into, or like have the potential to. Recently, I think, my boss is wanting to, just prioritize people ultimately more than business. Which in of itself is just like, that just sounds kind of Christian to me. But like, I think just he's observed the way I hold myself at work, and has asked, if I would be willing to kind of step into this role of leadership, and ultimately like, how do we care for people well in the company? And really, to me, like he was listing off these like values, but to me, I'm just like, oh, that's like, just like principles like we live by as like Christians, and like caring for others, honoring others. And to a point where he sent this like these lists of values to me, and I was kind of scared because like I was replying to like how I was feeling about each of those. Almost all of them, like scriptures came to mind, and I was like, man, like do I send this email back? I was like, hey, like God's brought me here, and like He can, like if I lose this job, He'll give me another. And but
You're
I
being
want
a light.
and I want to be able to, like, God's placed me here for a reason, and like I'm just gonna do all I can to bring these like values here, and believing that this will change the world. I sent the email, and I think he appreciated the email, and we're going on like moving on forward with like training or whatever. But just like, man, like that's what a healthy local church leads to. It leads to like impacting the world. If it wasn't for my time here and learning about these being equipped, building like boldness and like courage, like I can't imagine, like I in high school I wouldn't even talk to my friends about church. To be able to like share my faith while driving coworkers, while talking to my boss, while like in university, like classmates. It's just, I can't even comprehend that.
So beautiful.
So I don't know how I went on this tangent,
No,
but
that's
just
good. And the idea of like being so tight-handed that stuck out to me from what you were saying. Like if we're so tight-handed, like you can't give when you have that like posture, but you also can't receive either. I'm not saying like Heart for the House is to receive anything, but like God might have something so good for you to receive, like that heart posture, like that season that you went through. Maybe it doesn't come out as like, oh, you're not broke at the end of it. But maybe like your heart's transformed, like what you were saying. It's heart for the house, not anything else for the house in the sense. Yeah.
Investments for the house
Exactly.
or whatever it is. Yeah.
Fill in the blank.
Crypto.
Bitcoin.
What about you guys? When you hear all this stuff, like you guys have been through so many seasons with us, and we've had some bold dreams that have already. We're all sitting in one right now. Like,
Yeah, that's the first thing that I thought of. Like, probably early Slate days, we were talking about, oh, wouldn't it be so nice to have a building one day? You know, it would be so nice to not to have to like tear down and pack up and, you know, set up, I mean.
Sorry, Uni.
But,
we're all trying to get you a building here.
yeah.
We're waiting for it.
We're all believing it's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. But in that season, I remember just so vividly, like thinking that will never happen when I'm, you know, and like that mindset. And it was like, yeah, I lacked faith like in that moment, but now being on the other side of it and like thinking back to that perspective that I had in those moments, it's like, how can I not believe that God would do it when this is what he did, right? Like, like, I'll see you do it again, that song that we sing, like, yeah, it's just easy to believe when you've seen it happen before. And I know that that's not maybe like, you know, what you would typically say about it, you know, like the faith.
That's great.
Kind of, but
God uses these things to build our faith too.
yeah, he does.
I think,
yes, for sure.
And I think that's important to share, because I think when I share how big this thing is, and that's one component of it.
Yeah.
We still have to put roofs on buildings we already have. We still have to pay for this parking lot is such a headache with the city right now.
For sure.
And the price just keeps going up, but it has to be done at some
Yeah.
point. You have to care for what God's already placed in your hands. And you think of the big and then the maintenance and all the rest, and some people might be sitting there the same way, and they've entered our story this year.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important thing to share. Sometimes you got to rely on the things God has done to give you faith for the things he will do.
Yeah, for sure.
It's
So
beautiful.
to look back and see like he can do it, even if it feels, you know, like huge, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul, when you were talking, you said the word comprehend, and that really struck a chord with me. You don't even remember this, do you?
That's a big word. Big word. ESL.
Man, I just think back to Launch Team.
Yeah.
Remember Launch Team?
Yep.
And that ragtag group of kids, you know, didn't, you know, just
Sitting in a
kind
moldy
of blind
basement.
faith in a way, but dreaming big.
Yeah.
Is what I think of. And I remember the first kind of big offering we took up. It was like some I'm not even gonna try to say what the actual amount was, but it blew my expectations out of the water. And like, if I'm taking today's Nick and placing him back then, I'd be like, do you think that was big? Like, wait till Pastor Brandon drops this $150 million thing. But seriously, I think back to that time, and I would have, like, I think expectation-wise, it kind of is the same, right? Like, I look at that big number that we gave as a bunch of kids, and I'm like, God, how did you really do that? And I think that's when you couple like heart with obedience, right? And that's the fruits that you see is something that we as humans could never truly comprehend. The goodness of God and what he has and what he can do with what we give him. Sometimes I feel like I don't even have words to put to that. But yeah, I feel like every year God just crushes my expectations in a good way.
Yeah.
He sets the bar again. And I'm like, why wouldn't we believe that can be done, right?
Amen. Yeah, maybe I'll close with just a couple of reflections. And, you know, God has called us to big things, and I think we don't get to set the timeline. I do think that as a church, we get an opportunity through our giving to set a bit of the pace. Our vision will always outpace our resources because that's who God is. He wants us to rely on him. Right. And in personal seasons where I've been believing maybe for a house or to be able to pay for the kids to go to Christian school or whatever else, our own personal vision has always outpaced our resources. You have to trust in God. But as a church, the vision will always outpace the resources. But what we give can determine how quickly we run towards it as well, right? If we're going to give stingily, it's going to take us a long time. We give generously, we might get there faster. But it's also the timeline is in God's hands, and the ways in which God provides for this, we don't even know. I've been thinking a lot about this, like, Heart for the House, we'll do some of it. If we came across a property today, we don't have enough sitting in the bank. We might have to do a quick property thing. I don't know. That could do it. Lately, this past year, which I think would be an encouragement to our church, people that I have no business knowing have been put on, our church has been put on their radar, and they're interested in talking to us about our vision. And these are some of the most well-known philanthropists in our country for some reason. And they haven't committed to anything. It's a red thread that I'm pulling. But God made that happen. I think about the idea of, like, who knows if there's a business person in the city who owns a plot of land that's more interested in a tax receipt than they are. The ways God could provide for this are outside of our control. Our only response in this, going into each Heart for the House, is, what is he putting in our hearts? What is he asking us this year to do? And in obedience, he'll take us to the place himself, you know? I do want to say that outside of having a long dream of building a high-rise, because we might get a property and then we might build on it years later. We don't know the timeline of all that. The first thing is you got to get the property.
Sure.
Yeah.
Second thing is you got to put the university students there and know that we're not going to lose our current location. But the main priority is to build a healthy local church. And then we want to multiply that. And then all the other things that God does, we just sit back and go, God is good.
Yes.
And I want to thank all of you for being a part of this conversation and being the type of people. We started the conversation this way, but even as I just hear your hearts and you share a little bit about your own journeys, like, I want to thank you guys for being the kind of people that people can look to in our church and go, well, if they can do it, maybe God could use us to be a part of it that way too. You've been very faithful, and sometimes I get to be Moses was called like the mouthpiece of God a little bit. You know, he communicated the inaudible voice of God. And I think if our Heavenly Father could audibly speak to all of you right now, he'd say, well done. Way to be faithful. Thanks for all the times you failed, coming back and relying on my grace and continuing on in the journey that I've called you to. So thank you guys very much for who you are, your part in this church. And we bless you as you continue to build your families and help build this church. We love you lots.